Hello again, and welcome back on this bracing afternoon. Now, what we're doing today, we're back on our Talbot Express, and we've got, or hopefully had, a leaky windscreen. Obviously water blowing through in rain, driving conditions, even thrown up by the wheels across the bulkhead. But bearing in mind that the vehicle's 35 years old, this is another one of these situations where this is what I would class as a temporary permanent repair. So we'll go in and see how we've approached this, and don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Thank you. Okay, so leaky windscreen seal, water coming in, primarily along the bottom edge. But as I say, old vehicle, a lot of the metal rusted away. So the first thing is get a screwdriver up in there, gently prising the seal away from the bulkhead, and scrape out the debris. Then on the affected areas, start off your card. So little piece of card, bringing it in, and cutting it to the appropriate size and shape that's going to cover the affected area. And then once you have your card, fold it to within an approximation of what you're going to need off to cut the metal. Okay, so what about the metal we're using? This is actually the back of an old kitchen appliance, and process relatively straightforward. Bring your template, lay it on said piece of metal, mark off, and then with the old trusty tin snips, trim. And once we've that done, and our piece of metal to hand, then back to the vehicle. Right, so once we have our metal trimmed, then it's back into the vehicle, and we are then going to position our cut piece of metal and form it as best we can at this stage. So this piece of metal is actually bent something like this, at this point, to form the proper angle for the window seal. So as I say, form it as required, insert it up into the window seal, bring it down, form it across the bend on the bulkhead here, and then 3mm rivet, like so. And what I find works best actually is to get it positioned in one place, and then prise it, press it, tap it into place gently, and then fix again at another point. So you can see that works quite well. So we're working from here, prising it along, folding along the crease in the bulkhead, and then bringing it even round the curvature there. Now, once in place, two things happen at that stage really. Now you'll see there the white. Now that white sealant is actually this Tech 7. So it's beyond a silicone, so it obviously does provide you with a watertight seal, but then it also gives you real adhesion properties. So hence that's what's used around the outer edges of the aluminium plate, and that not only then makes it watertight, but then at the same time makes even for a better fix. And then once you have your in place, once you have your Tech 7 in place, then we're obviously going to use just a traditional simple silicone to actually go up in underneath the window seal between the rubber and the bulkhead. You wouldn't want the Tech 7 in there, because if at some point in time you ever did want to remove the windscreen, you would be facing a real challenge. Now, one of the other challenges about actually doing that is obviously if you're working with a silicone gun like so. Actually getting that up underneath the rubber at various points on the windscreen is virtually impossible. Now, what I tend to do in those situations, and again, the actual means by which we do this is maybe something I'll come back to at another point, but with a wee bit of plastic welding, actually create a right-angled nozzle for the silicone tube, and that means then that you've got an easier approach. Now, I'm not pulling this seal out to demonstrate it exactly because it's already sealed, but you can obviously see the principle, you know, where that will actually quite happily go up and underneath, and you know, you can go along and deliver a nice bead of silicone directly where it's required. So when all's said and done, we have gone from an area which is completely rusted away in there. There's just nothing. We have replaced essentially we've replaced the lip on the top of the bulkhead with a nice new piece of aluminium. We've also then used that plate to cover any corrosion or, you know, holes that there might be present in there. Fixed it permanent in place with the rivet. Be careful whenever you're drilling through the bulkhead. Obviously, just you need to be mindful of what's on the other side. Make sure you're not drilling into you know, wiper worms or any sort of other thing that might be present there. But nonetheless, fixed into place, mould it round the shape of the bulkhead, watertight seal with a bit of additional adhesion, and then our actual silicone water sealing underneath the rubber window seal. So that's where we are at the moment, and the only thing left to do on this windscreen seal now is to prise gently down the other way and put another wee fine bead of silicone around the inside lip of the windscreen seal. It's, as with all of these things, there's a real balance between trying to achieve your goal whilst at the same time not putting yourself to a huge amount of expense, and as I say, with a wee bit of artistry, sculpturing and mechanical prowess, we're going to come away with something which it might not be the most aesthetically pleasing job, but whenever the dash is replaced will be invisible, but something which is another effective repair. So yeah, that's why I class this as temporary permanent. It's maybe something as time goes by has to be added to, but you know, we have addressed the issue as it stands at the moment and hopefully solved the problem with water coming in. So look, once again, you know, thanks for your attention, and say don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Okay, goodbye.